Welcome to the Shifting People podcast, where we go deep into the weeds with leaders on the front lines of people management in the service industry. We interview the best minds in HR and talent acquisition, along with owner-operators, franchisees, and general managers to bring you real insights that you can actually apply in your business today. I'm your co-host, Derek Williamson.
And I'm Kathleen McDonough, and it's time to get to work.
Kathleen.
Derek.
Happy week. Last week, we ended our week at least on a discussion about reverse recruiting, which you had brought to the table. And we left everyone on a little bit of a cliffhanger because we said, hey, we took a look at what these reverse recruiters do for people and said, we can probably build something that would do 80% of that for you. And of course, not charge the crazy fees that folks like that would. So here we are for part two. We're going to do a little bit of a walkthrough, but Kathleen, this was your idea. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. As a reminder, reverse recruiting is when a new trend that recruiters are charging job seekers to go out and apply to jobs for them and follow up and things like that. So it's expensive, right? We dropped it in the last episode, but north of $1,000 a month, plus sometimes 10% of your salary once you do get hired. We wanted to build something that is free. And it's important that it's free because job seekers don't have income.
And philosophically, we think that when someone is looking for work, as much as people like recruiters may be well-meaning, they themselves, recruiting has taken a hit as an industry. There's just most of the time, I think charging job seekers rather than employers just doesn't really sit out well. So we built a tool to be able to help people just manage that process more like streamlined. I think in theory, I mean, everyone is capable of applying for jobs themselves and tracking it, et cetera. Kathleen, you had observed that one of the big challenges is that people are probably tracking it in a spreadsheet. Then they're maybe going to ChatGPT or whatever AI they use and trying to generate stuff. And then they're going to LinkedIn to follow up with the recruiter or managing like on their calendar all their interviews. So it's this really disorganized system. So it's like, why don't we make like a job organizer, right? And give it a few superpowers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the need for this comes out of the fact that the average length of unemployment is a lot longer these days, right? 24 weeks, which is about 6 months. And job seekers are sending out more applications now than ever before because there are more people looking for jobs. And so the average number of applications job seekers are sending out 45 per month. That's a lot to keep track of. So if you're in a spreadsheet, you're doing that, it is a lot to keep track of. So that's why we built it. The core functions of what we thought reverse recruiters are doing and charging a lot for that we could build and give for free are tracking jobs you've applied for, customizing cover letters and messages to hiring managers, and prompting continuous follow-up with employers. So you can see here, job search organizer, AI cover letters, habit trackers even, automatic tips and nudges, and prepping your resume and whatnot. So
Yeah. So all kinds of, yeah, let's get into it. All kinds of good tools. If folks take to this and we see folks using it, we'll happily add more. We got something up pretty quickly and it was let's see if this helps people. And then there's more we can do, right? We build software as our day job. And I may as well mention that obviously we're on a page that is hosted by our other company, Evercruiting, right now. We'll post, I think, a direct link as well. This is just a way to navigate so you know you're on the right page. But let's get into the actual tool. So two main components, right? So you got this little dashboard that we created. This is a nice way to keep track of our thinking was applying to jobs every day. If you got to keep up at that 45 jobs a month, whatever it is, it's just really hard and it can be really demotivating. So we added a little daily habit tracker. Once you complete your goals, you can check those off. So keeping it nice and simple and organized there, as well as some suggestions that are automatically generated, right? One of the hardest things is like sometimes maybe you got really far in a job seeking process and didn't get it. And then you're like, where do I start? Like, where do I go back? And so it's constantly generating new suggestions on things you can be doing. That's the main dashboard. And then, of course, the big thing with all the most of the functionality baked in is a way to track your job hunt process. Two different views of this. There's this nice little card view where you can drag as you progress through a process. You can drag the cards, or you can switch to a table view, whatever you prefer. As we mentioned, some people might be tracking on a spreadsheet, very easy to do. And you simply, as you apply for jobs, you just add them to the list, and then you can track them and organize everything. But then, Kathleen, you mentioned as well, we thought, hey, we're in the age of AI. Folks are probably, especially nowadays, like you're using AI, right? No one is generating every single cover letter by hand anymore. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't look at the output that AI creates, but let's save you the step of going back and forth. And so we have our little AI assistant. So for any given job, we already have your resume. You upload your resume in the system. And so it uses that to then craft, whether it's a cover letter, LinkedIn outreach, if you're reaching out to a recruiter directly, or again, another way to figure out what do I do? I really want this job is this next steps thing. And it can just suggest based on your activity so far, what else could you be doing? Those are three really useful tools. And of course, I don't have a real application link in here at the moment, but it is internet connected. So if you just copy the link of the job, it can go read it and then write that cover letter customized to the position, which is highly recommended. So we've got all that. And then, of course, you can track your activity. So again, on the interface, you can drag and drop through different steps, or you can add notes or things like that. Really important, especially if you're applying for a more serious, like a higher level management job or something like that. You're probably going to go through multiple interviews, keeping track of who you spoke to, what kind of questions they asked, things like that you might want to be able to recall or bring up later. And similarly, you can also track all of the different contacts that you either have reached out to or have met in the interview process as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
there might be 3, 4, 5, 6 people that you're talking to for one role, and you're in the process for 10 to 40 roles at a time. It's a lot to keep track of. Yeah, the context part can be really helpful.
yeah, exactly. So that's like kind of the core nuts and bolts. There's a nice little analytics piece so you can look at your progress again and track. When you're applying for jobs, it is actually really hard to remember how many jobs have I applied for. It feels like weeks go by very slowly, and it feels like I've applied to so many jobs, right? So you can actually see how many, what you're doing. You can track that activity. So I think that's really helpful as well. But this is the skeleton of it, the framework. Again, we stood this up really quickly. Thank goodness for like vibe coding tools. And really, it's just if people find use in this, like it's a very simple sign up. There again, you mentioned Kathleen, it's free. There's no cost, and you're not signing all your information over to us or anything like that. It's just a very basic tool to manage that process. So if folks are using it, we'll happily take requests on what else they'd like to see in it.
Yeah, there is a login, like username, password, because we wanted to keep it secure. But yeah, other than that, let us know if there are little pieces that will make it easier for you or things you can think of that are gonna make the process faster or simpler. Let us know. We're all about helping job seekers and employers.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone who's currently looking for work, we do wish you best of luck in your process. It is a marathon, not a sprint, and it is a tough labor market right now. So we really wish you the best, and hopefully you get use out of this and it helps you land that next job.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming to work with us.
Bye for now.